before we start tonight's program. This is an episode that will address a topic related to something I did on Sunday. And I will remind you that, before you decide to take on such an effort, consult your doctor, your mental health professional, your outreach group, your sponsor or specialist before adopting any change to your dietary, physical, and or mental health regime. Because as you could tell, I went through a major change in my physical and dietary regime in order to do what I have done this past Sunday. So, needless to say, consult your doctor if you want to go down this road. And I definitely am in touch with mine for sure. A little bit of change to the disclaimer, but I figured I stress that because I am not a doctor, but I'm someone who just did something incredible on Sunday and is looking to do a lot of other things, as we will talk about in this hour. I will also talk about SAMHSA, as I normally do, because I think there is a serious connection between the mental health and physical health paradigm. If you are looking for options with respect to mental health, contact SAMHSA, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, at 1-800-662-HELP. That's 1-800-662-4357. The service is open 24/7, 365 days a year, and it's a confidential free information service for individuals and family members facing such stressors. Importantly, if you're feeling suicidal crisis or emotional distress and need to be put in touch with a crisis center, call a suicide prevention lifeline at 1-800-273-TALK. That's 1-800-273-8255, or go to suicidepreventionlifeline.org. You can also text the word HOME to 741-741. Those resources are also available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And this would not be a disclaimer unless I talk about something that has been important to me over the last 14, 15 months, but moreover the last 11 years, in that of multiple sclerosis and demyelination. The National MS Society is the largest I'll start that over from scratch again. The National MS Society is a collective of passionate individuals who want to do something about MS now, to move together towards a world free of multiple sclerosis. Multiple sclerosis is comprised of unpredictable and often disabling flare-ups of the central nervous system. Such flare-ups disrupt the flow of information within the brain and between the brain and the body. The National MS Society is the largest private funder of MS researchers in the world, investing more than $1 billion to date. MS stops people from moving, but the National MS Society exists to make sure that MS doesn't. To contact the National MS Society, please call 1-800-344-4867. Once again, 1-800-344-4867, or go to their website at nationalmssociety.org. Also, as I did last year, I am taking part in the Walk MS 2022 in Media, Pennsylvania on April 23rd. We are raising money for this in the National MS Society through A Venture to a Cure's fundraising page at rebrand.ly/A Venture to a Cure. This was a page that was created for the virtual walk last year, and we're continuing that page for this year's walk in Media in April. Thank you for all of you who have donated money to this amazing organization or have even gone to the National MS Society to learn more about demyelination and multiple sclerosis. It touches me and over to 1 million people in this country who have multiple sclerosis in so many ways. And I appreciate all of you. And on that, let's begin. Well, I did it. I wanted to finish a half marathon, and I did it. And I didn't think I was going to. And I had my doubts up to the week before the race, wondering, can I do the 10K? Can I do the 5K? I ended up doing a half marathon. And I did so under 3 hours. So I did not finish, I finished. We'll talk about what this experience was, what the next steps are, and how invigorating the whole thing has been for me. Also, why was I carrying a banana for half of this half marathon? We'll talk about all of that, and we'll take your questions and comments, because this is the Venture Forward. I'm doing this. This is happening. Oh boy, did it happen. It absolutely happened on Sunday morning. Good evening, and welcome to the Venture Forward. I am John Venturini, a recovering addict of obesity, overeating, alcoholism, and compulsive gambling, and it is an honor and pleasure to see all of you tonight on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and also restreaming on the Adventure to a Cure's fundraising page at rebrand.ly/Adventure to a Cure. We're going to be doing that for the next couple months. Boy, it's been a crazy weekend, hasn't it? It has been. I think that's why I was tongue-tied in the disclaimer this evening, because I'm thinking about how everything has gone down in the last few days. But let's face it, the last, 12, 13 weeks as I was preparing for this, and everything has come to fruition. And I think in just doing that scan back, I'm just amazed. I'm amazed and mesmerized, and I ended up with a piece of metal. I can't believe this. Anyhow, we'll talk about all of that and the experience in this hour, but I want to see who wins tonight's door prize, and that is going to go to the co-host of VF Talks. That would be Matt Haas on YouTube, who says, hey, and asks the question, I would say, are you going bananas? I think I am. We'll talk about how the banana comes into play in a few minutes. Marilyn joining us and saying, hey JV, I'm excited to hear about your adventures with 3 waves and 3 purple hearts. 3 waves and 3 blue hearts back at you, Marilyn. Hope you're doing well. Ingy on YouTube says, hey Jay, and says, JV and everyone, this music is getting me pumped up. Yeah, it's very good music. That's why every time I hear it, I'm ready to talk about anything related to this story, anything related to the last 3 years. So glad you're here, Ingy, for sure. We have Laura over on YouTube who says hello. Laura, who has been an incredible help to me as we've gotten ready for the half marathon, and subsequently as I get ready for future runs and future road races and whatnot. Laura, pleasure to see you on the show tonight, and thank you again for all of your assistance. And Matt says, you're unstoppable, JV. Well, yeah, I feel unstoppable. But I'm always always looking over the shoulder. I don't think I'm unstoppable, but I certainly feel it. And after Sunday, I felt it. So let's get started. I had this plan. Back in 2020. And the plan was that as I go lose this weight, 300 plus pounds, and as I try to get my physical fitness to the best it's ever been, I wanted to run a 5K, a 10K, a half marathon, and a whole marathon. Then, of course, 2020 took place. And as I affectionately call the Backstreet Boys reunion tour took place, and things became a little haywire. I also felt that at the time I wasn't physically able to do it in 2020. I'm certainly physically able to do it now. So, needless to say, 5K undertaken, a 10K virtually has been undertaken, and a half marathon has been undertaken. And now all that stands between me and the goal is a full marathon, hence the title of this episode, 13.1 down, 26.2 to go. But we'll talk about exactly where, when, and how momentarily. Laura says, you're welcome anytime. Donka, thank you. And Laura on YouTube says, congratulations, JV. Thank you. I appreciate that. So we go back to Sunday morning in Cary, North Carolina, where there's an expectation. We're in late March. It was supposed to be somewhat warmer, and it was colder than cold Sunday morning. It's about 6:30, as you saw in that, that sort of pre-roll, or that sort of pre-roll. It was cold, and I wasn't wearing much as far as, sweatpants or whatnot. I was wearing shorts and 2 layers, and then upper I was wearing a vest, a hydration vest, and a shirt. And that was all I basically had on me. In the beginning, it was very rough. I was cold. I was even shivering for about the first half mile to the first mile. Now, the course, unfortunately, I don't have any pictures of this. The first half mile of this track, this basically this half marathon course, is in the woods. So it basically on the way down, so out of the woods is a downhill. On the way to the finish line is an uphill in the woods. So it's not pavement. It's almost, if you ever took it in high school or middle school, it's like cross country, right? So there was that. And here I am running in the woods, and it is really cold out there. A quick note: 7 o'clock in the morning. When I picked up my bib the day before and basically got everything lined up, I asked them, the wonderful people at Fit and Able Productions, who basically throw on this half marathon, but also does a lot of really great races in the Research Triangle down in Raleigh and Cary. I asked them, hey, can I start early? Because it was a rolling start. It wasn't a traditional sort of road race where the gun goes off and everybody runs off of a start line. It was a rolling start in the sense that there were packs of people, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, spaced out. Mainly because, now if you think about it, there's the tricky thing of the hill going down in the woods and the hill going back up at the end. So obviously the start is not a traditional start for a half marathon, but it's not your traditional sort of half marathon race anyway. They let me start the race at 7 o'clock, 1 hour before a lot of other people started. So the official start was 8 a.m. and they let me and a few others start in the 7 o'clock hour. And they had me start first at 7 because I was watching my timing. I certainly did not think I was able to run this any faster than 3 hours. I thought I was going to come in at 2:59:59. I think I alluded to that last week. So let me start running at 7 a.m. in the morning, maybe 7:05. And here I am, and it is cold, and I am shivering. And when I got down the hill, and I was about ready to make the turn, I started feeling like I can do this. They had volunteers rooting everybody on and like pointing where to go next. There are orange arrows all over the place. And like as you started getting going and you're starting to run, you got the sense that, okay, this is happening. This is happening. And now there's really no point for me to think anything else but to have a good time, listen to the music that was in my ears. I had AirPods in my ears. I had a 3-hour playlist, which I will definitely put that playlist out for all of you on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch as far as a list of songs sometime before this week is over. It definitely got me pumped. Definitely got me going. And as that was blasting, I was getting myself into a groove. And was it the fastest groove? No. It's something for someone who hasn't run ever before, in a long race like that, short race, yes, it was something for me to get over and really get into it. But I did. And when I got to the first mile marker, mile 1, I said, okay, that's 1 down. I got 12 to go. Now, the way this race works is it is an out and back sort of race. So you're going 6.5 miles one way and 6.5 miles the other way. So when I got to that first mile marker, got 1 down, I got 12 to go. And I'm running, and I'm actually picking up a little bit of pace. I also had an app on my phone that would tell me exactly what the splits are as I was running, and it was telling me that my splits were like 10 minutes, 11 minutes, 12 minutes. Again, not incredibly fast times, but for someone who used to be 480 pounds, this is an incredibly fast time based on, what I used to have 3 years ago, which was nothing. So I'm running and I'm getting these splits and I'm starting to get at it. And my legs were doing okay. I think there was a time come mile 4 or 5 before the turnaround point where I started to feel a little sore in my right leg, but I just slowed down. There was a point where I went to a walk. It wasn't it wasn't the it wasn't the sort of thing where I was going to stop. I just kept going, and I just worked it out. There was a time where I actually stopped for a second and had to look around because I got off center from the course. And I think I ended up a tenth of a mile off of the course, and I realized the track was going the other direction. So that's neither here or there. But outside of everything, I kept moving. And that was the most important thing for me. I just didn't stop moving. Now, in this track, this course, you cross 3 streets. And there were definitely, when on the way back, they had the police department, Cary Police Department, watch the traffic and making sure that we had a free reign across the street and whatnot. But in the beginning, they had volunteers basically pushing the button, making sure that we were clear to run across. And that helped considerably. So you had all these different sort of environments and just, I think the other thing was there were a lot of boardwalks. So some boardwalks outside of condos and townhomes, but boardwalks along the water, right underneath overpasses and stuff. And I would say the sort of viewpoints and vistas that you see as you're running are absolutely incredible. My regret today, Tuesday, is that I didn't have any sort of way of capturing much video and audio off of that. But as you'll see, by the time I'm done with this 13.1 miles, I come to 2 conclusions. But I'll tell you about that in a couple minutes. A couple comments popped up. Ingy says, sounds awesome. It absolutely was awesome. Laura asks, did I use Strava? I did not use Strava to track the race. There was an app that the organizers provided, and I think it's RaceJoy, but I will confirm that and get back to I'll get back to all of you on that. Laura says you need a GoPro. Yeah, I absolutely do. And Matt says, did your playlist include Daft Punk? No, it didn't. It should have, but it didn't. You think Around the World would have been one of the songs on there. It wasn't. But good call. And I think as I plan the next race, I think Around the World will probably be one of the songs on there. So here I am running. I get to the 6.5 mile point, the turnaround point, and there's a giant table of water, sports drinks, gels, protein bars, and bananas. And the person that I went down to Cary with, who, by the way, I'm going to just a quick shout out. April, if you're watching, thank you for everything you've done in getting my mindset for this. And you're incredible. And truth be told, I grabbed a banana for April. That's why I ended up running the second half of this half marathon holding a banana, and I didn't have a place to put it, and I'm running, and you'll see some of the pictures that I'll show you in a few minutes of me holding a banana the second half of this half marathon. But that's the reason why. And did I eat said banana? No. I held on to it for the whole entire second half for April. So oh man, it's funny. And I think I now have a new tradition. I think from now on, if I'm doing an over and back and there's a refreshment table, I will grab a banana. That seems to be my thing. So, and also there's a Gwen Stefani song playing in the back of everybody's mind, I'm sure. Ingy says Costco carried a less expensive GoPro type camera. I think, yeah, I could definitely invest in one. Certainly for the next big race, because there are going to be a lot more races coming up for sure. Spoiler? Absolutely. And April joining us on YouTube with a kiss. Back at you, April. Thank you. And Geesh on YouTube says there's a laughing and there's an emoji of a banana. Yeah, bananas, right? So let's talk about this as I get tongue-tied and whatnot, as I talk about bananas and a long race and whatnot. In the sense that this is episode 4.16, 13.1 down, 26.2 to go. And one reminder again, the next big sort of walk I'm doing is in April, on April 23rd, as I talked about in the preamble or the disclaimer. The Walk MS Media 2022. That's going to be on Saturday, April 23rd. It's going to start at 10 a.m. It's a 3-mile walk. I am looking forward to it, mainly because it's 3 miles. It's a walk, but there's going to be a lot of people there raising money for an incredible organization. And if you want to learn more about the National MS Society or want to raise money with me for this amazing race, you can go to rebrand.ly/a venture to a cure. Right now, in this effort, we've raised $68,077 for the Walk MS in Media, with a goal of $80,000. And I think we'll get there. We still have plenty of time between now and April 23rd. But nevertheless, rebrand.ly/a venture to a cure. Before we start, I wanted to start with a language of letting go, because as I think about this process, as I think about where I am now versus what was in my life previously, this resonated. And Language of Letting Go, an incredible book by Melody Beattie. It's just an incredible sort of journal, but also I would say a guide. And they have, she has entries every single day. And not only will I be quoting from that tonight, but I'll be quoting from the sequel to that, would be More Language of Letting Go. And we have one at the end that talks to that. But today's Language of Letting Go talks about getting needs met. It goes something like this. Picture yourself walking through a meadow. There's a path opening before you. As you walk, you feel hungry. Look to your left. There's a fruit tree in full ripe. Pick what you need. Steps later, you notice you're thirsty. On your right, there's a freshwater spring. When you are tired, a resting place emerges. When you are lonely, a friend appears to walk with you. When you get lost, a teacher with a map appears. Before long, you notice the flow, need and supply, desire and fulfillment. Maybe, you wonder, someone gave me the need because someone planned to fulfill it. Maybe I had to feel the need so I would notice and accept the gift. Maybe closing my eyes to the desire closes my arms to its fulfillment. Demand and supply, desire and fulfillment, it's a continuous cycle. Unless we break it. All the necessary supplies have already been planned and provided for this journey. Today, everything I need shall be supplied to me. And that's today's Language of Letting Go. If you think about this story, if you think about me losing this weight, and me being sober, and me not gambling anymore, and me traversing across a lot of other things, the supplies have always been there. I just had to listen, and I had to believe in myself. And before this show is over tonight, I have another Language of Letting Go that talks about the importance of laying a foundation to make sure you can go out and get those things. But we'll get to that towards the end. The important tip from the last episode. Just finished the race. My personal best for a half marathon used to be infinity. Namely, previously used to be infinity. Now, my personal best for a half marathon is 2:54:19.7. In this half marathon in Cary, I finished 208th out of 218. Out of the 45 to 49 age group, I was 12th out of 13, all male, 105th out of 111. My average pace was 13 minutes, 18 seconds per mile. For someone who thought he was going to barely finish or not even finish and was just looking for 2:59:59, you can imagine how much that makes me feel. You can imagine the sort of just awe that I got when I got the text message from the app, which was Race Joy, but also the timing site that said 2:54:19. And I just couldn't believe that I actually did it. I with loud music playing in the background, with everybody else who's finishing coming in and either stretching or grabbing, beverages, whether it's hydration or protein or whatnot. All of that's going on in the background, and all I could think of is I finished a half marathon. And I was going to be of the thought, if I decided to go with a 10K and downgrade it down to a 10K run, I had up to Tuesday to do it. I didn't do it. I was gonna stick with this, and I did, and I'm so glad I did. Because there was a time in my life that this was not even possible. This was not even thought of. You talk about someone who was at an airport in Raleigh in January, February of 2019, barely being able to move, barely being able to live. And now here he is running and running and running, and he's doing it. He's absolutely doing it. I'm doing it. That's just where I am. Geesh says awesome. And Laura from Language Lingo before says powerful. Yeah, it's incredibly powerful. And I want to take a quick second out and thank all of you who follow me on Facebook and said really incredibly nice things when I posted the video of me finishing, but also just the whole thing and the amazing things that you've said to me have really done incredible wonders for me. It shows how much this community, this venture community, cares about me, but also the live streamers, also my friends. I've had plenty of friends from high school just congratulating me. I'm really thankful and really blessed for all of you. So thank you. Seriously, thank you. Some pictures, because what would this story be without pictures? I didn't have a GoPro, but I do have some pictures, because along the race there were photo sites that were taken for Race Joy and the Cary half the Greenways half marathon website. They had 6 or 7 pictures for me. There is a little bit of a snippet of them. I did this. I can't believe I did this. But yeah, and you could tell how cold the morning was in the picture in the lower center. But it warmed up quickly when we got to the 8 o'clock hour to 9 o'clock hour. It started becoming a lot more manageable. Of course, after running 5 to 10 miles, obviously I'm running warm now, so I wasn't feeling any sort of cold. But it was an incredible day for sure. A refresher on the course. It starts over in Metro Park. It traverses along the greenways to basically around Green Level High School and across some underneath the toll road, which are basically boardwalks over there, but also boardwalks along condos and townhomes along the way. Just very beautiful, just absolutely gorgeous. The turnaround point right over here, that's if you're scoring at home, and I know that's where the banana was grabbed, where that that diamond off to the left-hand side, there was a refreshment table, a hydration station for those that are running the half marathon, so you basically could grab anything. There's also porta potties along the way, and yes, bananas. And then you turn around and you start heading back the other direction. It's a turnaround point. And as the race started picking up, we get into the 9-10 o'clock hour, a lot more people started heading out, rooting everybody on. And what's great is, as you're running one direction and some people are heading the other direction, we're all rooting each other on. Like, a lot of, you can do this and you got this, and so many miles to go, and 2 miles to go, 1 mile to go. A lot of that sort of camaraderie. The community that a racing community is just phenomenal. And I talk about how incredible the recovery groups that I'm part of are, just have done wonders for me. I talk about how the live streamers have done incredible things for me. These running communities, the running community down in Cary, oh my God, the people that ran this race, incredible people, and we're all in this. We're all in this, and everybody's rooting each other on. And to have someone running aside you, or even a spectator saying you got this, that's incredible. When you have some people that were there that knew you from work that's saying, go John, go, that's incredible. When someone very near and dear to you that you love actually rooted you on, that's incredible too. There's a lot of camaraderie, a lot of support, and the only word I could come up with is invigorating. It's absolutely invigorating. I think I put a comment up on Facebook that said when I got to mile 10, I didn't have any sense of wanting to give up anymore. Because I know that at that point, I'm 3.1 miles away from finishing this. It's what we talked about last time. The longest training run I had for this half marathon was a 10-mile long run. Because if you could do 10 miles, well, what's the difference between that and finishing a half marathon? Well, it's doing 10 miles and then running a 5K on top of it. And then there you have 13.1 miles. When I got to the 9th mile, the 10th mile, I knew this was going to happen. I was going to finish. But also, just incredible energy that you get from so many people, whether it's the fellow runners or the spectators. It's really something. It really is something, for sure. Just a rehash of the prep times. There wasn't any sort of sizable prep in the last week. We're told to taper down, so I tapered down, and then needless to say, the half marathon on Sunday at 2:54:19. These are basically things that are filed away for me to realize, okay, there's something for me to work on, but I know that you put the work in, you can get there, and this slide should talk to that. Basically refreshing what we talked about last time about, slowing down. Negative splits are our friend. Negative split should have been my friend, but I think once I got out of the woods, I started running really fast. So in essence, I had a negative split in mind, but I didn't do that as much as I should have. Pacing the run, I did to the best of my ability. There was a 3-hour time limit. 2:54:19, got it under. Don't compare yourself to others. I didn't. I just wanted to finish, and I did. And the other thing was, you win by just being here, and finishing is an accomplishment. Yeah. In fact, there's someone who is watching this episode tonight who told me that the last 3 years was a marathon, and Sunday was the finish line to that marathon. And thanks again for saying that, because when you told me that, it's something I definitely am holding on to. So thank you. Thank you very much. The running shoes were definitely key. The Sauconys definitely came into play. Although, truth be told, if the hilly downhill back up was any longer than the half mile or quarter mile down, quarter mile up, I might have gone to a pair of cross trainers. It was a little bit rough, but the Sauconys definitely helped there. And then the last piece was wearing the right gear and being prepared for any kind of weather. Yes, except I think after the second or third mile, as cold and shivering and my teeth chattering as I was at 7 o'clock, once I got going, it wasn't a problem anymore. And I think I was really happy that I didn't wear any sweatpants to do this, because I was running hot come the second, third, fourth, fifth, so on and so on and so on. So that sort of advice was playing in the back of my mind for sure. Um, Many people treated this as a long Sunday run. Some people do their long Sunday runs a lot faster than others, which is perfectly fine. It felt like a long Sunday run that was just incredible, and I just hydration, electrolytes, yeah, definitely was using. Thank you. Someone got me some caffeine. Thank you for the 3 coffees. You're such an inspiration, everyone. Your race was amazing. Congratulations on completion. Thank you. Thank you, whoever gave me the 3 coffees. Thank you very much. Thank you. Carb load doesn't mean eating all the pizza. Um, in my case, it meant going to Red Lobster the night before and eating fish. I don't understand what the logic was there, but it worked. Recovery is key. Stretching and massages after the race. Yeah, stretching was definitely helping. And the moment was definitely enjoyed for sure. And with many more moments coming down the pike for, I have that sort of wanting to do the next thing. So just really excited. Things I have learned and are planning for. This is a new slide. This is something that's not repeated. And yes, more bananas, because that's a running gag now, isn't it? Listen to your body and don't be afraid to walk or light jog. That absolutely did happen. There was a lot of, I would say, third walking, third jogging, third running. If your knee and leg hurt, stop, stretch, do some squats, and go back gently. I definitely did that. Over the wooden boardwalks. Slow down if it's cold outside or wet. And they warned us that there was a chance that the boardwalks might be wet. So I kept that in the back of my mind. When I got to a boardwalk, I slowed down a bit. This is your race, no one else's. Enjoy the run. I certainly did. Preparation will be key in the sense that for Portland, which would be the next race, 26 weeks of training, which I'll talk exactly how I'm planning to do that in moments, for an effort that will really be 3.5 to 4 times tougher than a half marathon. The training plan includes 10Ks and perhaps a couple of half marathons, and then there are long runs along the way that could be as many as 20 miles. But we'll talk exactly what the strategy is for that soon. And then find a place to hold the bananas when you pick it up at the turnaround station, because there are a lot of pictures of someone running with a banana, and that would be me. So going back to Maine for a second. Jamie joining us on YouTube, who says, hey everyone, late but here. Congratulations on the marathon again. Thank you, Jamie. Glad you're here. Going back to the thought though, the next goal is just to finish a race that is longer. And as a reminder, JV's personal marathon best would be infinity, because he never ran a marathon before. So needless to say, that is what I'm trying to shoot for, is to just finish. Although I am planning to prep over 26 weeks. So there's a little more effort that's going to be done for Portland as there was for Cary. Going to go back to Maine for 1 second. Laura says, I can send you the training plan she used for the New York City Marathon. Laura, if you could do that, that would be great. Muchly appreciated. There is a plan I was using out of Marathon Handbook, but I'm going to be using a consortium of different plans and whatnot to try to find a plan that works. Laura, I'm sure your plan's going to be probably on top, because you've ran New York City and you're definitely an inspiration for sure. To remind everybody, what I did today, or what I did on Sunday, was a metaphorical half baseline for Portland. But the funny thing is, it's going to require 3 to 4 times more effort for a race that's only double the length. Because come the 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 20th, 21st, 22nd mile, things taper down considerably, and pacing is going to be very paramount. Pacing is going to be incredibly important for sure. Matt says, How funny would it have been if you handed April the banana and she said, "Thanks, can you get me another one?" Um, April, if you want to chime in, yeah, that would have been hilarious. Yeah. Um, at that point, you might as well pick up the whole entire bunch and start giving them. Anyhow, so shooting for a completion of the Portland Marathon, which is going to be a lot tougher of a course because it goes through the hills and incredible scenery of Portland, as some of you who join us from Portland know. Definitely looking forward to that, but also realizing it's going to be a much tougher race. I'm going to definitely be ready for that. The Portland strategy is this, and some of you are going to see this lesson and going to say, "What the heck are you thinking?" Um, it's subject to change, but this was going off of what I learned from Marathon Handbook, and obviously, as I go through the next 26 weeks, I will tweak and tie this accordingly. But 26 weeks starting right after this show, 3 miles today. Pace runs on Tuesday with an RPE for 5. We use this term called RPE, relative perceived effort, or exertion rather. It's on a 10-point scale, and according to Marathon Handbook, a 4 to 5 for a pace run. Needless to say, today, even though I'm still a little sore, I'll try to be at a 4 to 5 to do 3 miles tonight. Training runs on Wednesday, which will be intervals, RP 3 to 4, 4 to 8 miles for those training runs, as well as tempo runs on Friday with an RP of 3 to 4, 4 to 8 miles. And then the money would be the long runs on Sunday, which there are 3 stars next to it because no matter what happens during the week, if you miss a training run or an interval run or a tempo run, the important run that gets done, funny enough, is the long run, the endurance run on Sunday, with an RP 2 to 3, starting at 8 miles this coming Sunday, but will be as many as 20, with a couple of long distance races along the way that will be in lieu of the long run. The weekly mileage, if we add up all the mileage, will start at 19 miles, which will be this week, but we'll get up to as many as 42 to 45 prior to the race in October. The last 2 weeks will taper off. As you get ready for the big race, you're supposed to taper off a bit. And then there will be a couple of tapers during the schedule as well. There's also an Oservis infusion in 3 weeks, which will be a natural taper down as well, because it's going to be one thing to go get a full infusion of Oservis, but then continue training for a marathon. There's going to be a little bit of a taper temporarily as I try to get back up to speed off of that infusion. And then, yes, I have every intent to continue my workout schedule in the sense that I spend anywhere between 2 to 4 times a week. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. Sometimes all 4, sometimes just 2 out of 4. But I do like to cycle, and cycling's really good for me, so I continue to do that. Strength training on Thursdays, high intensity interval training. Try saying that 5 times fast in light of a long day. On Monday and Wednesday, and then I am going to continue doing the double triple threat workout every 4th Saturday, which the double triple threat is time on the elliptical, time rowing, time on the treadmill, then a spin class, and then doing those 3 again for a longer interval. So it'd be something like 15 minutes of walking, running, or walking, jogging, running, 15 minutes of rowing, 15 minutes of elliptical, then spin, and then anywhere between 30 to 45 minutes of the 3 again. So rowing, elliptical, and running. So all 7 of those together, that'd be done every month, once a month. Some quick comments as I go back to Maine. April's laughing. If you need 3 or 4 minutes, I'll grab as many. But yeah, you got it. And Laura says, I sent the New York City plan training to your Facebook message. Thank you, Laura. Appreciate it. So that's the strategy for Portland. I mean, it is a bit of a tough schedule, a tough strategy, but I think it will definitely put me better geared for a tougher race in that of Portland than a half marathon that I just came off of, which again, very thankful, very grateful for that half marathon, and will be something I will be doing every year because there's such an incredible, invigorating environment for sure. Much again, thanks to Fit and Able down in Cary. You run a great half marathon, and I will definitely come back again next year. So that gets us to the second sort of thought in Melody's sequel, in that of More Language of Letting Go. And this is entitled, Thy Will Be Done. You can clear the land, plow the field, spread the fertilizer, and plant the corn. But you cannot make it rain. You cannot prevent an early frost. You cannot determine exactly what will happen in your life. The rain may or may not fall. But one thing is certain. You will get a harvest only if you planted something in the field. You have to do the work, in other words. It's important to do everything in our power to ensure our success, but we also need to let the universe take its course. Getting mad won't help. Dwelling on a situation only takes energy away from us, while yielding few positive results. The Serenity Prayer comes to mind, as many of us know the Serenity Prayer. It begins, as we all know, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Clear the land, plow the field, plant the crop, and then let go. Things will work out. Sometimes the way we want them to, sometimes not. But they will work out. Sometimes all you can do is shrug your shoulders, smile, and say, whatever. Thy will, not mine, be done. Universe, help me take guided action, then surrender to your will. Help me remember that true power comes from aligning my will, intentions, and desires with you. And that is more language of letting go. So we talked about the opening in the sense that there is plentiful out there for us to go get. But what that tells us is that we have to lay a foundation in order for us to get to the goals that we need to. There was a foundation being laid in the last 3 years of me losing this weight. There was a foundation being laid as far as me grasping sobriety and me not gambling anymore. There was a foundation being laid with me figuring out a couple of other key things in my life, in the sense that making really good sort of conscious decisions about my interpersonal relationships and where I need to be and all the sort of things that are in my life, while also tackling something that I thought was just a one event in that of multiple sclerosis. The foundation has definitely been laid for me to tackle these things, and I can never lose sight of that. And when you have a strong mind and a can-do attitude and a will-do attitude, and you think that there's a possibility you can do it because you are definitely giving it a go, more times than not, it will happen. Sunday was proof positive of that. Some final comments. Laura says, I am planning to do the New York City Marathon again in 2024 or 2025. I'm not sure. Already ran 2021 and it was the greatest feeling. Laura, it is an incredible feeling that I can only imagine from Ian telling me that 7 times. And I would be remiss not to bring this slide up one more time. My cousin Ian is an incredible gentleman, incredible guy, incredible person. Proud to call him my cousin. He's run New York City multiple times and just salt of the earth. And I am very, 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 very thankful for him, because he was the last person you would ever expect to run a marathon. And here he does New York City 7 times. And I love him. I absolutely love him, and I am very thankful for everything he's done. He actually congratulated me in that Facebook post as well. And to my dear friend Rebecca, in the sense that she inspired me on the concept of half marathons down in the Research Triangle and whatnot. Someone who didn't do it all the time in her life either, and realized this is something she could do, and was going through a major change in her life as she was trying to change her narrative, change her life. And that's what she did. Both Ian and Rebecca did that. They wanted to change the narrative, to do something for them. And them running, whether it's Ian in the marathons and the road races he does in New York City, or Rebecca in the various half marathons that she runs, that's proof positive that your mind is an incredible, incredible place for us to do incredible things. I know I said incredible 3 times there, but the mind holds the key. I hope I made both of them proud. And going forward in all of this, without question. I go back to Maine for a second because I did lose the weight twice before, and it took this 3rd time for me to keep it off because my mind wasn't there. I was doing it for the wrong reasons. Now I'm doing it for the right reasons. I'm doing this for my health. I'm doing this for my life. I'm doing this for the incredible people that have come into this life. But irrespective of that, this has given me the opportunity to provide so much love and care for so many great people. For the people, places, and things that are there to help us, to meld us, to make us strong as we make them strong. Not to throw this adage back, but it's that airplane mask when the cabin pressure goes out. When it drops, the first person we cover with that mask is ourselves. Then we make sure the rest of the row is taken care of. If we don't do that, we run the risk of not doing so well. So, me taking care of that, me taking care of me, allows me to take care of a lot of other things in this life. And that leads me to talking about Thursday's episode, in the sense that we do own that strength. We do own that power. We must realize and never forget how important it is to keep that strength for ourselves and not let anything, person, place, or thing push us away from that. The moment we do that, we run the chance of harming ourselves. And if we're going to love and provide strength and provide wisdom to the best of our ability, we must never lose sense of ourselves. And it's not selfish. Far from it. It's selfless. But we got to make sure that our train is on the track before we can do anything else in this life. That is what we're talking about on Thursday night. And then on Friday, we're going to do what we do every Friday. It'll be the first time in a couple weeks, and I'm looking forward to it, where we have an episode of VF Talks with Matt Haas, Paul Burke, and all of you. It's an incredible, incredible show, incredible time with all of you. I just enjoy it, and I look forward to it every single day. And the Fridays are definitely something that really make this week perfect every week. So Thursday night's episode about bringing the strength back in, or the powers within us. Thursday night, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific. VF Talks, Friday night, 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific. But until next time, I'll say the same thing I say at the end of every venture forward in VF Talks. Stay safe, stay sane, stay strong, stay sober. You're worth it. We'll see you Thursday night at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific for the next episode of the Venture Forward. Have a wonderful night. I love you all. Fly be free.